Welcome back, everyone, to the third day of our Stay Ready series. We are coming to you every day live this week. Well, like I said before, maybe 6 days live and one pre taped. I'm going to try to do 7 days live to put together a playlist of resources for anyone who is entertaining the idea of moving abroad, moving away from where you are now, and have no idea as to where to start. And so each day since Sunday, I have been sharing gems, hacks, tips, tricks that I have learned during my research and speaking to others as I gained my Mexican residency initially in 2022 and renewed for 4 years, for 3 more years in 2023. So today we are going to talk about we're going to talk about places that may be at the top of someone's list who's looking for a safe place to land, who's looking for some place where it may be easier, more peaceful, definitely safer. And most of the places on the list, the cost of living is less than that of what's here in the United States, especially if you live outside of the touristy areas. So outside of the city centers and more, on the outskirts. And so let me just go ahead and introduce myself for those who don't know. Hi, I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. I am also the founder of Black Travel and Culture, which is a community of Black travelers of all different age groups who came together beginning in 2017 just to share experiences and information and build community. On this channel, Kim, aka Kim with the Gems, I talk all things in addition to travel, wellness, and finances from a cultural perspective. And so today, by the end of this video, you will have 12 destinations to help you start your research process. And just a little surprise for those who are tuning in, it's technically going to be 17 destinations. If you stay till the end, there are 5 countries on the continent of Africa, which I will share separately. I truly believe that Africa deserved its own special highlighted section. A lot of people, it's pretty much divided. Some people believe the continent is simply too far for them to move, especially if they have responsibilities that still bring them back to the States somewhat frequently. So I'll save the African countries till the end. But we're going to get started with the countries that often rank at the top of the list for Black Americans who have, already became immigrants in these countries or spent significant amount of times in these countries and have had nothing but positive things to say. So first, I ask that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. If you're already a subscriber, thank you. Hopefully, you're getting notifications when we go live. I was unable to set a set time each week, so I will post in my community tab the times that I am able to go live. So go ahead, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone who you think may be interested in this type of content. I would truly appreciate it. Again, this is my passion. I do this because our freedom lies in options, and I will continue to say that. And I want all of us to have the option to leave if we so desire. If we don't, then fine. But if we want to, we can. And so, like I said, all of the videos that I'm sharing this week will be part of a resource playlist for Black women and men who are interested in exploring what it is to what it's like to live outside of the US and how to go about finding other resources to help you make that decision. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up my list now. This list is part of a bigger, quote unquote, I'll call it Bible of resources that will be available for purchase next week. And it will, each country that I list will go into complete details as far as, all the resources you would need to make decisions, but more about that later. So how did these countries make the list, right? What was the criteria? One, there had to be safety and stability. The countries that are on this list all rank high in those areas. There are no countries on the list that are not safe, right? Where crime is high or racism is high or even sexism, you have to worry about. So safety and stability meaning geopolitical stability, dollar stability in that country, all were part of the criteria. There also had to be some cultural connection, right? So if as a Black person, even if you're not in the minority, and when I say Black, I'm specifically talking African American, we know that there's Black African American privilege. We have American passports, which come with a whole different type of privilege that other Black or African countries or African citizens do not get. So these are all based on African American criteria. So there's a cultural connection, meaning even if the demographic skew white, there may be a huge African American expat community there, or even if it's a small expat community, the people there are embracing of that community. So again, safety and stability, cultural connection, and when I say affordable, some of the places, and I'll go through the ones that are equal to the US or similar to the US in affordability, but you get a different quality of life. So we'll go more into that as we go through the different countries. So let's get into these countries. Oh, and I also have my notebook too, because I have some notes that I want to make sure I share. So the first 12 countries, because like I said, we're going to do the African countries separate, and there's going to be 5 of those. But the first of the 12 countries we're going to start with is the Netherlands. And I'm going to share for each country the reason why it's considered safe for African Americans. And I'm also going to share cost of living comparisons with the US. So with the Netherlands, also known, when you think the Netherlands, most people think of Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a bustling city full of diversity and not known for any major racial issues. So simply stated, it's known for its progressive stance on equality. The Netherlands has anti-racism laws and protections in place, and African Americans benefit from the country's growing diversity and an active expat community. So all of this stuff, again, is going to be in the Bible for people who want to stay ready in case they have to leave or want to leave this country. And these are just sound bites of the reasons why. There will be more information in greater detail that will be included in the digital download. But for now, this will give you a taste of why these countries made the list. Now, what can you expect as it relates to cost of living? I can't see comments right now, so if you are asking any questions, hold on, I will get to them. I can't even see who's attending right now. So as far as the Netherlands is concerned, they're known to be a little higher than the US as it relates to cost of living. And also in the Bible, it will break down exactly, are we talking rent? Are we talking food? Are we talking entertainment? Are we talking just daily necessities like paying water bills, gas bills, all of that, that will be outlined in the Bible that I announced next week that will be available for sale. So it is known to be higher than the US, especially in places like Amsterdam. Amsterdam is it's widely known to be one of the most expensive cities in Europe, but it's also full of things to do. Full of lots of things to do. So that was number one. Number two is Japan. And Japan is a safe country overall with low, very, very low crime rates. So that's paramount for anyone, especially anyone who's traveling with young children. You want to know that crime rates are low. You don't want to go someplace where you will worry more there than you would here. So Japan is known for very low crime rates and very restrictive laws as it relates to crime. And there are cultural differences, but the society is overall known to be welcome. There are a lot of African Americans, Black Americans that live in Japan for work. Also may have gone, have been in, I believe it's the Army base that's in Okinawa, if I'm not mistaken. But anywhere there's military men and women who not only have gone there, but decide to call the home after they retire. So there's a decent number of Black Americans that are in Japan. And it's a city that's generally known to be safe for African Americans. Now, comparing the cost of living, it's pretty similar to the United States. So, and this is on average. So again, today we're just talking type line information. So if you take the average cost of living in the US, then Japan is on par with that, except for Tokyo. Now, if you're looking to live in Tokyo, let's just not even it's more expensive, and again, this will all be outlined in the book. But if you're looking at places outside of Tokyo, you can definitely find places on par to live, the same cost of living as the US. Now, number three, we are going to talk about Canada. Oh, Canada. Now, I will say, and this is going to be part of the series when we talk about passports and visa restrictions in some of these countries, the laws are changing, right? There will be lots of changes for different countries coming up based on whatever happens with our administration here and the changes they make, right? So Canada has already made some changes regarding their visa requirements, and there'll probably be more. So I will share the most up-to-date information in the book that will be released, the downloadable ebook that will be released next week. But Canada, for right now, is known for its inclusive multiculturalism and anti-discrimination laws. The country has a reputation for welcoming immigrants across the board and generally offers a peaceful, tolerant environment. Now, if you like cold weather, Canada should be at the top of your list. If you don't, then, for me, Canada, although I was just there in November of actually a year ago, it's a great place to visit. For me, I'm trying to get away from cold weather, but it's a great place for anyone who needs to commute back and forth quickly and easily to the United States. Lots of flights from the west to the north. From the west to the east. Lots of flights available, and many of them are inexpensive. So Canada is number 3 on the list. And when it comes to cost of living, it's similar to the United States. Although it does vary by city, right? City to city. So if you think about like the high touristy areas like Toronto and Vancouver, it may be more expensive. the cost of living may be more expensive, especially as it relates to housing. But then when you take into effect like healthcare, so all of this is going to be, I don't want to get ahead of myself. All of this is going to be part of the compilation that will be available. But healthcare, not having to spend as much for healthcare will offset some of those costs. Let me just see if there's perfect. Okay, so let's go to number 4. Number 4 is the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom, hold on. Trying to find the summary of the UK. Do I have it listed? Okay. So one of the reasons, well, the reason why the UK has made this list of the top 12 or 12 of the top countries, it's not the top 12 and it's not in ranking order, but the United Kingdom is known to have rich cultural diversity and laws protecting against racial discrimination. African Americans often find the country relatively safe, especially in the cosmopolitan city of London, right? So London is notorious for, I shouldn't say notorious, London is well known for people who are of the Caribbean diaspora, especially Jamaica, to have a large number of citizens there. So even though you can hear some things going on as it relates to racism, the gun laws are so strict, you don't really hear about violence with the GUNs, nor do you hear about school pew-pewings, right? And these are the things that I think are key and important, especially when you're looking for some place to relocate to and you have a family and you want to be safe, right? So now the thing about the UK is that the cost of living can be higher than here in the US, especially London. And again, this is primarily as it relates to housing, and yeah, primarily housing, but there's other things that would offset those costs. And again, that will be part of the bigger resource that will be available next week. Okay, so Netherlands, Japan, and UK. Number 5 is one of my favorite places in the world. Barbados. Barbados has a pretty decent sized expat community. And even though not all of the expats that are there live there full time across, 12 months out of the year, they are very active. I'm in a few of the communities. They are very active and very helpful when it comes to helping people relocate there, even if it's only permanent. So what is it about the Barbados? Well, it's welcoming. It has a strong African American diaspora community. And the country is known for its low crime rates and overall safety for tourists and residents. And so, again, just key important factors that you should be looking at when it's time for you to make that decision. Now, there is a resource guide that's available. I'm not sure if I put it in the description yet. It will be in the description, and it was in the videos posted yesterday and the day before. Barbados is not included in that, but it will be as part of the larger Bible that will be available, or the larger resource guide that will be available. And also when it comes to cost of living, it's lower than the United States of America. Now, it's also depending on where you live in Barbados, because there's certain areas that are deemed a little more touristy than others. And of course, if you're right on the water, if you're looking for beachfront living, then that comes at a premium. So while it is overall less expensive than the median average of the United States, it can be costly depending on what part of Barbados you decide to live in. Number 6 is, and we talked about this place as well, but Portugal. Portugal is 6 on the list. And let me restate, this is in no particular ranking order. These are just 12 of the most popular destinations, and that you can find research ready to go by just simple Google searches. What is it like to be Black in this country? You can find loads of information. And I think these places should be the top of everyone's list who has no clue as to where to go or where to live. So, Portugal. Why Portugal? Let's remove the evil history of the past that most countries, because the first thing you'll hear about Portugal, oh, they used to do this and they did this hundreds of years ago. Listen, very few places are free from that stain of everything from slavery to let's just ignore that and deal with where we are today with Portugal. Right now, Portugal has an extremely low crime rate and a super strong reputation for racial tolerance. That's what we want. That's what we need. I know quite a few people who have called Portugal home within the last 5 years and say nothing but great things about living there from a racial, a racial perspective. So the country is open to diversity, and places like Lisbon and Porto are, kind of being inundated with people wanting to call those places home. And there is some pushback from the locals. It's just like with gentrification here in the US. People don't like to see other people coming in and driving up costs. It's unfortunately something that happens almost everywhere. So unfortunately, some of the natives or some of the citizens there are not too happy with the influx of people wanting to move to Portugal. But again, just a great sign that it's a place that should be at the top of your list that you may want to check out. As it relates to cost of living, much lower than the US. Now, again, inflation is pretty much global. And so prices are going up, but it's definitely more affordable than the big cities in the US where when it comes to rents or food and, very different services. And so moving on to number 7. Number 7 is another very popular destination for Black expats, African-American expats. It is Costa Rica. So Costa Rica is known for their just vibes. I guess that's the best way to put it. If you're looking for peace, if you're looking for tranquility, if you're looking for ease of mind, if you're looking for a softer life, Costa Rica should definitely be at the top of your list of places to investigate. Now, if you're not Spanish speaking, then, I forgot what language they speak there, excuse me. But it's definitely not an English speaking country, but in most of the highly populated and highly touristy areas, you can get by with just speaking English. So Costa Rica is celebrated for its peaceful environment. Their philosophy is pura vida, which promotes happiness and inclusivity. Crime rates are extremely low, and African Americans find this particular country very welcoming. And so there are different parts of Costa Rica will be broken down in, like I said, the guide that will be available next week. But overall, Costa Rica is a great place for you to start researching and seeing if this is some place that you can call home or you and your family. There are tons of expat communities that you can find and people willing to help answer your questions. When it comes to cost of living, com- complete difference than the US. So you will find most things to be lower price. The cost will be lower than in the US. However, again, if you are looking for beachfront property, if you're looking for to live in the center of the major city, then that will come at a premium. But there are so many other options. And yeah, so definitely think about Costa Rica. That was number 7. And then number 8, we are going to discuss Colombia, and that's Colombia. Not Columbia, Columbia. It's Colombia. And why? Excuse me. Ooh, take a sip of water. Today was a busy day. Okay, so why Colombia? Number 1, there's a huge Afro-Colombian population. Number 2, it's a country that's rich in cultural heritage. I believe last year they just elected the first Black woman vice president of the entire country. And it's a country that's very welcoming to African Americans. Now, there are about 3 cities that are very popular. So definitely Cartagena, definitely Medellin, or some people say Medellin, Bogota, and Cali. Those are the 4 major cities within Colombia that if you are looking to potentially, and they all offer something different. You have the mountains, you have the ocean. So do your due diligence or get the resource guide that will be available next week for purchase. That will include all of the popular destinations for Black Americans in Colombia. When it comes to cost of living, another reason why you should definitely consider Colombia, which is also, like I said, a Spanish, well, I didn't say that, but it is a Spanish speaking country. But the cost of living is much lower than the United States, and this country is deemed very affordable. So if you're looking to save money or travel on a budget, then Colombia should definitely be part of your list of places to research. Okay, so what's next? Now, the next 4 places are places that may not have been at the top of your list, or you may not have even thought about, but they are definitely places that I would highly recommend checking out for the sheer reasons that we talked about. Like if you're looking for safer places that you don't have to worry about the violence that exists here, then these next four places are places that you should definitely, like I said, consider. So number 9 is New Zealand. That's right, New Zealand. And New Zealand is known to be very stunning, like just a very beautiful, aesthetically picturesque place to visit. But it also boasts a reputation for its friendliness, diverse culture, and low crime rates. They have laws in place that actively protect minorities and foster inclusiveness. And so that's what we're talking about today. Listen, boys and girls, that's what we are talking about. If we're looking for plan Bs, that should be at the top of your list. And when it comes to cost of living, outside of the major cities or beachfront property, it is much lower. Their cost of living is much lower than the United States. Now, moving on to number 10. So we have 3 more before we get to the African countries. So number 10 is, let me find it on my notes, Sweden. That's right, guys, Sweden. And if you check out the video that I did for the 5 resources, all that Black women who are planning to move abroad should use, there's a guy named Alston who has a YouTube channel who also talks about Sweden being, I think it's his top 3 or top 4 favorite places in the world. And this is why. Sweden is known for its high level of racial equality and liberal views on immigration. African Americans often feel safe with strong laws in place against hate crimes and discrimination. Period, exclamation point. That's exactly like I said, what should be at the top of our list when we're looking for places to research, maybe go visit, take a sabbatical, test the waters, all of that. We don't need anything that's, more difficult than what we deal with here. But the other side of that coin is that the cost of living tends to be higher. Now, again, there's certain things that probably will offset the overall cost of living. But when you're talking about the standard cost of housing, um, housing is pretty much it, right? So when you think about housing, that's where the bulk of your spending will go. And especially in places like Stockholm. Stockholm, Sweden is extremely, not extremely, but it's much more costly to live there than to live in the US on average. Number 11 is a place that I want to go, and I want to go soon, but I think I missed the window because I think it's cold there now. Ireland. That's right. Ireland is known to offer safety and a very peaceful environment. The people that I have known to visit or spend any significant time there have experienced, color not really ever being an issue. Like, just people really, when people say I don't see color, that was their experience in Ireland. And I do know that they have an affinity for Michelle and Barack, because I think Barack has roots. I don't know if it's his mom has roots in Ireland, and they have they have a big statue of them in Ireland. But yeah, do your research, but definitely Ireland should be, if you're looking for safety, if you're looking for a place where people are not just going to stop and stare or treat you different, then Ireland. Now, again, I'm not including anyone outside of African Americans, and I'm not talking about the tourists or transplants that came from other places that do have some type of racism issues. I'm not talking about those people, but the Irish people in Ireland are known to be warm, gracious, and accepting of African Americans. Now, when it comes to cost and cost of living, it's similar to the US. It's not higher, it's not lower, it's on par with the US, except for Dublin, which is known to be somewhat more costly than the US. And number 12, before we get into the African countries, is someplace that my father told me about, and he loved it there, is Germany. Now, that's today. And again, all of this information is based on what is happening today. We don't know what the next 4 years will bring. But right now, as of today, Germany has an extensive anti-racism policy and laws in place. Okay, so it's not like people are going around risking their freedom to be racist against African Americans. And the country makes it known that if you are, there will be consequences and repercussions as of today. And there is a growing
expat community and a very active expat community as more and more people have moved to Germany in recent years. More and more African Americans have moved to Germany in recent years. And when it comes to cost of living, similar to the US, except for places like Munich and Berlin, which are the big cities, which are the more touristy cities. So if you are looking to live within those city limits, expect to pay more, and it may be a little higher than what you're paying here for cost of living. So let me see. So here we go. So next on the list are the five African countries. They're not all of the African countries that I think should be considered. Again, for the sake of time, where are we on time? We're already 35 minutes in. I've been trying to keep these to like 40 minutes. The last two videos that were live were about 40 minutes, and I might go a little over tonight, but hopefully with the next 5 minutes, 6 minutes, we'll be done. But there are 5 African countries that I want to touch base on tonight that should be considered for anyone looking to relocate. Now, we know that, like I said earlier, let me pull up. Okay, here they are. Okay, perfect. Like I said earlier, the qualifiers and what the criteria was to make this list, there had to be safety and stability. There had to be affordable living opportunities and lower or opportunities to live, live below the US average if necessary, or at least on par, and then cultural connection. And so with the top 5, or not the top, the 5 that we're going to go over today, we'll start with Ghana. And why Ghana? Ghana is often cited as one of the most welcoming countries for African Americans, with strong cultural connection to the African diaspora. The country has a growing economy and a stable political environment. Check, 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 right? Check, check, check. You want to check these things off before committing to, or not even committing, but even taking the time to go explore. And so let me see exactly what it says about, here we go. When it comes to cost of living compared to the US, it's much more affordable. It's a lower cost of living than the United States when it relates to housing, food, and services. Next on the list is South Africa. South Africa also has a large and diverse population with a well-established African-American expat community, and major cities like Cape Town and Johannesburg are really diverse and are considered mostly safe. Again, don't do anything. I just always say, whenever you travel, don't do anything that doesn't make sense. If you're a woman, don't be out in the streets 3 o'clock in the morning by yourself wandering. Like, just certain things you stay away from. And for the sake of time, all of the African countries that I'm going to talk about offer a lower cost of living as compared to the United States. So just know that the 3 that I'll go over, same thing. Cost of living is much lower. So let's go to the next one, which is Kenya. Why Kenya? We also covered Kenya in the 5 resources guide for Black women looking to move abroad or planning to move abroad, and discussed Kenya as a potential destination. But Kenya has a vibrant expat community, particularly in Nairobi. And it offers a stable, safe environment for African Americans. The country has a welcoming atmosphere, especially for tourists and newcomers. So add Kenya to your list. This will also be part of, technically, there are about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cities in Africa that are at the top of the list that will be in the resource guide that will be available soon. So we talked about Ghana, we talked about South Africa, and we talked about Kenya. Next up is Senegal. Why Senegal? Besides it having a lower than average cost of living as compared to the US, Senegal is widely regarded as one of the one of the safest countries in West Africa. Dakar is the capital, and it's a vibrant city with growing expat population and is well known for its hospitality and cultural diversity. So, if you're looking for hospitality and cultural diversity, then add Senegal to your list. And then fifth on the list, it's an emerging city. It's also known kind of as like the real Wakanda of the continent. And that city is Rwanda. Rwanda has emerged as one of Africa's safest countries and has a reputation of being welcoming to expats. The capital, Kijili, I hope I said that right, Kijili, is especially known for its clean, modern infrastructure and low crime rates. And it's very technologically savvy. And it has a host of places that you can explore. They're known for, where are the silverback apes or gorillas located? I can't remember offhand. But anyway, those are the top 5 places in the motherland, on the continent. And like I said, if you are interested, you can do a simple Google search, expats in Black in, and put the country that you're interested in, and you will definitely come up with loads of information and even some social media sites or social media communities that you can join to get more information. I'm trying to think. I think I covered almost everything. 41 minutes or 42 minutes. I did that. But join us tomorrow. Oh, I do want to share what the other topics are going to be. Did I do that? I don't think I did that. So let's talk about the other topics that we're going to cover in no particular order, but we're going to cover the Mexican residency process. What's new, what's different, what's improved, why you should start it today, and how you can start it today if you're interested in getting Mexican residency. We talked about, I shared that we're going to talk about the changes in some of the visa requirements that are happening across the world, as well as what may happen here in our country as it relates to getting passports and visas. We're going to talk about countries with free and or low cost healthcare. We're going to talk about what's the other one? So we're also going to talk about like Canada in more detail, because I think a lot of people don't realize or don't know that we've been moving abroad, right? Harriet Tubman the people didn't just stop in New York or in Massachusetts. We've been going across the border, and Canada was a major part of the Underground Railroad. And we're going to talk about kind of what that looked like and more about Canada and their requirements coming up. And so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, do that. If you haven't already hit that like button, do that. If you haven't already turned on your notification, do that. And be sure to check out the community posts, because I will post when we'll go live the rest of the week. Until then, the playlist will be put together and added to the description box. So if you just want to catch the old videos that you missed, otherwise, I will see you guys. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? I'm not sure if tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I go live. Tomorrow there will be a live. And I will keep you posted on the rest of the lives. Until then, I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems, and I will see you next time. Take care. Happy planning.